Breaking news into the WRAL traffic center. Big backups on I-40 westbound near Jones Sausage Road. We'll show you how long the backups are there and where in Apex we're seeing another crash.
And it's a cold start. Our temperatures are in the upper 20s and low 30s. I'll show you why our temperatures will warm up a bit before we see our next Arctic blast.
And neighborhood safety. Raleigh police are sharing ways people can protect their homes after the murder of Zoe Welsh. The concerns RPD is addressing for people who live nearby. And federal cuts. We're expecting to learn more today about how the communities across the state are dealing with changes to SNAP and Medicaid.
WRAL News at 8 starts in less than 30 seconds.
At Leith Honda in Raleigh and Auto Park Honda in Cary, we make your buying process easy. And with every new car purchase, you'll enjoy complimentary oil changes and exceptional service. It's no wonder we've earned so many 5-star reviews. You'll also get peace of mind pricing with every used vehicle, and if it's not the perfect fit, no problem. Bring it back within 3 days for an easy exchange. Visit our showroom at Auto Park Honda in Cary or Leith Honda in Raleigh. It's easier here.
Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It's 8 a.m. on your Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 50. I'm Laura Levine.
And I'm Renee Chu. Just a glorious way to start our day with these blue skies, all that sunshine. Still very cold temperatures out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner walks us through how they will warm up today. Yeah, it's chilly, just like it was yesterday. We're seeing sunny skies. Temperatures have dipped below freezing in most places. It's pretty here at Rocky Mount Mills. 31 degrees officially in the Triangle. And just like yesterday, we really haven't seen a whole lot of wind. Just a little bit of wind chill in a few places. Fayetteville was feeling chilly earlier this morning, closer to 20, but it feels like 24 still in Southern Pines. It feels like 23 in Rocky Mount and 26 in South Hill. So that wind chill is just altering the way our temperatures feel slightly. We'll see a slight warm up this afternoon, up to 60 degrees with our winds coming out of the south, but it will be short lived. I'm tracking another front that'll come through on Wednesday night. It won't bring a lot of rain, but it will bring some much colder air and windy conditions. We'll take a look at that coming up. Chris?
And Elizabeth, back to our breaking news story here in the traffic center. This crash on I-40 westbound at Jones Sausage Road. This is just a mile from that exit 302 marker. You see most of the emergency personnel is off toward the side, off toward the shoulder, but it's still slow going around it as people are trying to get out of their way. So initially, this was about a 25-minute delay coming in on I-40, heading into Raleigh out of Johnston County. Now it's still delayed by quite a bit, but the delay time is down to about 14 minutes, so that's at least some encouraging news. It's not ideal, but it's at least an improvement. This is brand new into the traffic center, US 1 northbound at North Carolina 55. This is in Apex, and you can see the backups being caused there by a crash as well. This is heading northward toward Raleigh out of Apex, and you see how that backs up close to about where the toll road is there, 540, and getting onto US 1. You saw how that on-ramp was pretty backed up. In terms of delay times heading into Raleigh out of Apex right now, oof, that's about a half-hour delay, so you might want to take the toll road out of there. 14-minute delay from Garner. It's about a 10 to 15-minute delay coming in from Durham and from Wake Forest this morning.
Okay, Chris, thank you. This morning, we are trying to learn new information about 2 crashes that happened overnight in Raleigh. This is video from the scene on Falls of News Road near Litchford Road at about 2:30 a.m. The WRAL breaking news tracker spotted an SUV and pickup truck with damage. And the WRAL breaking news tracker was also on this scene here of a crash near Capitol Boulevard and Thornton Road at about 11 last night. You can see a pickup truck and a car that are badly damaged there. We have reached out to Raleigh police for more information about these crashes.
People in one Raleigh neighborhood are raising concerns about their safety after teacher Zoe Welsh was murdered. WRAL's Ali Calabar is live outside RPD's Southwest District headquarters this morning. And Ali, police met with neighbors in the 5 Points neighborhood to talk about those concerns.
And those neighbors live just down the road from where Zoe Welsh was killed. And so that's why in that meeting, Raleigh police say they are increasing their patrols in that area, making sure the community feels safer. Now, we counted about 40 people in that regularly scheduled virtual meeting last night, asking Captain J.R. Manson at least a dozen questions about safety and protection. He says strengthen your doors and windows, make it harder for someone to break in. Also, have a plan if a break-in does happen. The meeting comes just over a week after the murder of Zoe Welsh, a longtime science teacher at Ravenscroft School. Police say Ryan Camacho is accused of breaking into her home on Clay Street and killing her January 3rd. Manson says officers are doing regular patrols now in that area.
We want you to feel safe in your homes and know that we are doing regular security checks over there around the park. We're trying to work in that area as best we can.
And in that meeting, you're going to see a list on your screen. People addressed these concerns: homeless encampments, bus stops, and also lighting in that area. Manson says you can contact him or the Raleigh Police Department with any concerns, especially anything alarming that you see. We have a full list of all the advice given in that meeting on WRAL.com. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
Ali, thank you. And a week after Zoe Welsh's murder, we have questions about how the Durham County District Attorney's Office handled cases involving Ryan Camacho. We took those questions to Police Chief Patrice Andrews here. Camacho had 4 felonies downgraded to a misdemeanor by District Attorney Satana DeBerry. She responded to WRAL saying the evidence in Mr. Camacho's cases did not support felony conviction. Prosecutors can only deal with the facts before them.
Your department is responsible for presenting those facts before them. How does that reflect on the work of your department?
We always include the district attorney's office in on the conversations around the facts, the evidence, oftentimes before even charging.
And Chief Patrice Andrews tells us her officers prepare complete cases. Part of that includes working with the DA's office to make sure the right charges are filed.
Jury selection begins today in the trial of Isaiah Ross. He's accused of murdering 2 teenagers in Orange County. Ross is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. The teens were found dead on a remote ATV path in September of 2022. Prosecutors offered Ross a deal to plead guilty to second-degree murder, which he rejected. Prosecutors told the judge they plan to call the victims' parents in to testify. Jury selection begins at 9:30 a.m. Happening today, the Raleigh Convention Center is hosting its first event since a fire there last month. Yesterday, our crews got our first look at a temporary kitchen that will provide food for upcoming events. This mobile kitchen is at Red Hat Amphitheater. The convention center roof and the air conditioning there still need to be fixed as well.
Today, we'll get new information about how federal cuts to Medicaid and SNAP benefits will affect people in North Carolina. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at the state legislature building this morning. And Kelsey, millions of people in the state rely on these programs every day.
Yes, Laura, and today we're expecting to get a deeper understanding of how these federal funding cuts could potentially impact you and your family. Conversations that are happening here inside the legislative building today should shed some new light on Medicaid and SNAP benefit funding cuts. More than 3 million North Carolinians are on Medicaid and 1.4 million receive SNAP benefits. President Donald Trump signed a sweeping tax and spending bill last year that cuts funding to both programs. His plan cut 20% of funds for food stamps. That's the largest cut to SNAP benefits ever. This all according to analysis by the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Trump's plan also slashes Medicaid by $1.2 trillion. And today, state and county officials will be speaking with these North Carolina lawmakers about how they're anticipating navigating all of these new changes. Our NC Capitol team will be there following those hearings. So if you want to get updates, head to WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News. I'm in Raleigh.
Kelsey, thank you. New developments in the story now surrounding the former Cary town manager. We are now hearing from State Auditor Dave Bolick, who says he may have found possible criminal activity. WRAL has done more than a dozen stories on the questions surrounding Sean Stiegel and his spending while serving as town manager. He was placed on leave in November and resigned a month later. The state auditor tells WRAL his investigation uncovered transactions on a company card that could indicate fraud. Bolick says his office is now working with the SBI and the district attorney.
The key to finding and getting to the bottom of any misappropriation is a long-term pattern of spending and the exact items, for example, or services that are purchased with public dollars, and whether those items and services are purchased with a legitimate need of the town.
Now, Bolick was not able to share a timeline on when we would learn more. We have reached out to Sean Stiegel multiple times since yesterday. We have not heard back. Cary Mayor Harold Weinbrecht responded to the news from the state auditor's office, saying in part, the state auditor has raised concerns about potential legal violations by Sean Stiegel that we take very seriously. Once presented to us, we will review the auditor's findings carefully and will partner fully with any additional investigations.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, a couple of discount airlines that fly out of RDU International planning to merge this morning. As we look live at RDU International this morning, Allegiant Air plans to acquire low-budget airline Sun Country Airlines for $1.5 billion in cash and stocks. Of course, this is not a done deal yet. It would require regulatory approvals, but if all goes well, the combined carriers will expand their complementary networks and offer more affordable travel. The merger is expected to close sometime later this year. Of course, we'll keep you posted, especially if you have some travel plans coming up.
Okay, Ken, thank you. Happening today, the Supreme Court will hear two cases that could shape the legal landscape for the rights of transgender people. The cases from Idaho and West Virginia center around banning transgender athletes in girls' and women's sports. Both cases are about whether the bans violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. So far, nearly 30 states have laws that ban trans students from participating in sports consistent with their gender identity. Your time now is 8:11. We have much more news ahead. Federal lawsuit. Minnesota officials are trying to put a stop to immigration enforcement operations across the state. Why they say ICE's actions won't be tolerated.
The need for a remodel. We are getting a look inside the Wake County Animal Center ahead of its makeover. How the shelter is preparing for changes during the renovations. Elizabeth.
And our next weather maker is on its way. By tomorrow, our front starts to move through. It's going to deliver another blast of really chilly air and windy conditions, too. I'll show you what to expect. 8:15, taking a look at our next weather maker. It's a front that'll come through late tomorrow and deliver much colder air. But this high pressure system is going to take good care of us today with lots of sunshine and a little bit of a bump up in our temperature. We'll climb up to around 60 degrees. With that front, we have just a small chance of rain, mainly late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Shouldn't have any major impacts. The very tail end of that could see a few flurries mixed in, but no accumulation. It's a cold enough start this morning. This is a live look at Zebulon, and there might have been a little bit of frost there on the grass. We just haven't had a lot of moisture in the atmosphere for frost, but definitely the cold temperatures. If you're looking to get outside, say around lunchtime between 11 and 1, temperatures will go from 48 to 56. And again, a high this afternoon near 60 degrees. Chris?
Looking forward to that and looking forward to your morning commute. And so far, we've got another crash now on US 70 in Garner near Guy Road. This is going to be causing a bit of a slowdown there on US 70. Meanwhile, things are still backed up there at US 1 North at NC 55. Reportedly, the crash is cleared, but you've got these residual backups that are causing delays heading into downtown Raleigh. We'll show you how much of a delay we expect from all across the area coming up in less than 5 minutes.
Chris, thank you. Federal immigration enforcement is making its presence felt across the state of Minnesota. Activity is now being reported at Target stores and in their parking lots. This newly released video from Richfield was captured by bystanders just a day after a woman was shot and killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. A Minnesota state lawmaker says 2 employees were detained by Border Patrol. Both are said to be U.S. citizens, and they have since been released. Target has declined to comment. Homeland Security says Border Patrol arrested a U.S. citizen for assault, but have not clarified which individual was arrested.
Meanwhile, Renee, the state of Minnesota and the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul are suing the Trump administration over its immigration crackdown. This new lawsuit argues that the operations in Minnesota are a federal invasion. It says the crackdown also violates the 10th Amendment by unlawfully commandering state resources. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says these federal operations are not normal.
What we are seeing right now is not normal immigration enforcement. We are not asking ICE not to do ICE things. We are asking this federal government to stop the unconstitutional conduct that is invading our streets each and every day.
Minnesota officials are seeking a court order to halt the crackdown. The Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security has called the lawsuit baseless and says the agency plans to fight it in court.
A major political fight is brewing over the independence of the Federal Reserve. The Department of Justice has served subpoenas to Fed Chair Jerome Powell and threatened criminal charges tied to his testimony about the central bank's building renovation. Prosecutors allege Powell lied to Congress about the cost of the renovations. The price tag on the renovations is about $2.5 billion. It's a move Powell calls a pretext to pressure the Fed on interest rates. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are concerned over recent developments.
This is a really dangerous thing for President Trump to use his Department of Justice to weaponize our system of justice to try and coerce a Fed chair into following his preferences for interest rates. This is really foolish and dangerous.
Do you think the White House is trying to stop the independence of the Fed?
Somebody at DOJ. I mean, the president said he wasn't in the mix. Another example of amateur hour, as far as I'm concerned.
You just heard from Republican Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina. He also says he will oppose confirming any nominee, including the next Fed chair, until the matter is resolved. Critics worry the escalation could inject political interference into U.S. monetary policy. Looking ahead, Pullen Park in Raleigh will temporarily close for improvements next month. Major work on Lake Howell's shoreline will begin on February 2nd. All attractions, amenities, playgrounds, and picnic shelters will be closed through March 31st. The Pullen Aquatic Center, Community Center, and tennis courts will stay open.
The Wake County Animal Shelter will close for about a month and a half to make much needed repairs. WRAL went inside the animal shelter and found cracked walls and floors and chipped paint. Our WRAL investigates finding comes as county leaders are talking about a new building for the shelter. Staff members tell WRAL they hope the repairs will hold up until a new facility is ready. Private boarding facilities and nonprofits have stepped up to help house some of the animals temporarily. Foster pets will still be available for adoption.
It is definitely coat weather out there, but you also need your sunglasses, too, because it's nice and bright out there.
It really is. This high pressure system is taking good care of us, and it'll allow us all to get outside this afternoon. And then after that, you might want to think twice about it, at least for a couple of days. High pressure rotates clockwise, and yesterday, when that high was farther to the west, it was feeding us air from the north, so made for a really chilly day. As the high slides eastward, it's still cold this morning, but we'll get a bump up in our temperature as our winds shift briefly to southerly, and so that'll bring us up to around 60 degrees this afternoon. Our next weather maker comes in late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. The latest runs of the computer models just continue to trend drier and drier, so we're just not going to see much rain out of this. The mountains could see a little bit of snow. The big thing that we'll see out of this is a drop in our temperature and some windy conditions. I mean, we're talking some really cold temperatures for Friday morning. We'll likely wake up to clear skies tomorrow morning, but right here at lunchtime will likely be fairly gray. Could be a quick sprinkle in the afternoon, but the bulk of the rain with the front comes in closer to 11 o'clock, midnight, and then it starts to slide eastward. And I say the bulk of the rain, and I'm not talking about much. We're likely to see less than 1/10 of an inch. Notice that as it starts to slip on out of here very early Thursday morning, there may be a brief period of a few flurries, but no accumulation. This is not going to be anything that causes us any issues. Thursday will feature winds out of the northwest, and it will be blustery, gusting up to 35 miles per hour, really pushing that cold air back in. But again, for Wednesday night, Thursday's front, and Saturday's combined, we're looking at less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. We really need some, just 20% chance Wednesday and Thursday and Saturday. So again, just not a whole lot coming our way. Now, June and July and August were nice and wet with our temperature, with our rainfall at over 14 inches compared to what the average would be about 9.5. But since then, since September 1, we've only seen 7 inches of rain when we should have seen as much as 15 inches. Now the mountains should see some, maybe 1.5 inches of rain around Boone, maybe 3.5 in Snowshoe, and then some heavier snowfall up around the Great Lakes. And it's not over yet. I mean, we're still in the middle of January. If we're hoping for some snow, 68% of our snow tends to come after the middle of January. Definitely going to have some cold temperatures, 20 on Friday morning with a high of only 42, and then another round of chilly temperatures for the second half of the weekend. Chris?
And we're starting out busy in the traffic center this morning. This is US 70 right on the Wake and Johnston County line near Guy Road. This is a crash that reportedly has some injuries with it. Another crash that did have some backups on US 1 northbound in Apex right as you come on from NC 55. That's near the Handy Hugo's gas station. I think there's still Bojangles in there, but as you're getting onto US 1, that's one of those backups that we're tracking. Another is near I-87 at the Beltline near Pool Road. That's where we've got a crash, although you don't see a whole lot of backups there. Meanwhile, I-40 at Jones Sausage Road continues to be backed up. We'll have updates on the radio at 101.5 HD3.
Busy traffic morning.
Yes.
Chris, thank you. Chemical concerns. Nonstick pans can sometimes pose a hazard in the kitchen. Live on Your Side has the safest cookware options.
An early voting debate. Multiple North Carolina municipalities are debating.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. The time is 8:26. I'm Laura Levine. Let's get right over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with those temperatures in the 20s in some places.
It is cold out there this morning, 27 right now in Wilson and in Fayetteville. We're at 31 in Durham. Almost everybody's still at or below freezing this morning, but our temperatures will bump up nicely this afternoon. We'll see sunshine, a little bit of a flow out of the south. So if your kids have after school practices today at 3 o'clock, that'll be the warmest time at the afternoon at around 60 degrees. If they have later practices, say around 5 or 6, still not too bad with temperatures in the low 50s. We do have another big blast of cold air that comes in later in the week. We'll talk more about that coming up on Fox 50. Chris?
And Elizabeth, a live look now at I-87 at New Hope Road, and we're not seeing any slowdowns there. But just down the road, Pool Road, you do have a crash. At I-40 at Jones Sausage Road, this crash is still off toward the side of the road. It's not causing the delay that it was maybe an hour or so ago, but you do see that things are quite congested near exits 302 and 301. That's heading westbound into downtown Raleigh, and pretty much across the board, your delays anywhere from 7 to 12 minutes. Take it easy out there. We'll have your full traffic report over on Fox 50 in 3 minutes.
Jury selection begins today in the trial of Isaiah Ross. Ross is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the 2022 deaths of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. He rejected a plea deal for second-degree murder, and jury selection begins at 9:30 a.m. Happening today, state election officials will consider plans for early voting. Most counties in the state have bipartisan plans, but political efforts like ending Sunday voting and getting rid of campus polling places have come up in some counties, including Cumberland, Harnett, and Hoke. Next on Fox 50, a turn in the turmoil in the town of Cary leadership. And coming up on Today, what happened to happy hour?
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It's another chilly start this morning. This is a look at the temperatures if you're about to head out the door, upper 20s and low 30s. But I'll show you why we'll get a little bit of a warm up this afternoon.
Protecting the community. People in the 5 Points neighborhood in Raleigh concerned after Zoe Welch's murder. The guidance from officers to help people feel safer in their homes.
And impact of federal cuts. Today we'll learn more about how cuts to SNAP and Medicaid benefits might affect your family. The response from county leaders adapting to the change. We have a lot of updates to get to here on your Tuesday. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Laura Levine.
And I'm Renee Chu. Looking forward to a nice afternoon with lots of sunshine. Maybe make some outdoor plans, an outdoor walk, Elizabeth, or maybe go out to lunch, right? And, you know, be able to have a seat outside.
Yeah, might not be too bad for that. We take a live look at Rocky Mount Mills, and you can see lots and lots of sunshine out there again. This morning feels very much like yesterday. Not too much wind out there, and our temperatures have dipped into the 20s and low 30s. Right now it's 31 in the Triangle. snuggle. There hasn't been very much wind, but it doesn't take a whole lot to drop those temperatures. So there are a couple of places where it feels colder than it actually is. It feels like 24 in Southern Pines. It feels like 23 in Rocky Mount and 29 in South Hill. But we're beginning to see the temperatures creep up a little bit. We're still in the upper 20s and low 30s. Maybe you have some errands to run today. If you're heading out around lunchtime, 53, that's close to our high yesterday. And this afternoon will be a little bit warmer. We'll climb up to around 60 degrees, so it'll feel a little more comfortable during the afternoon. I'm tracking the next front that comes through. That one arrives late tomorrow into early Thursday. Thursday will turn much colder and windy. We'll check that out in a few minutes. Chris?
And a new crash into the WRAL traffic center. This is I-440 westbound at Capitol Boulevard. Looks like there are some backups. I mean, you usually see congestion this time of morning anyways, but we'll keep an eye on that. Tried to find the closest camera, but didn't look like the connection was there. Elsewhere, toward the Wake and Johnston County line near the TV transmitters, you have a crash that's near Guy Road that reportedly had some injuries. It looks like the backups for that are at least shrinking a little bit. We've noticed a lot of quick work being done by road crews over the past couple of mornings, including here at I-40 westbound at Jones Sausage Road. You see all the crews are off toward the shoulder, so it's allowing traffic to get through. It's just a lot of folks are trying to adhere to the move over law, get out of that exit lane. You still have a mile to go before you have to exit off the interstate, but at least there's some improvement there. There was close to a half-hour long delay with that. Now it's down to 7 minutes. Still about a 20-minute delay coming in from Apex due to a prior crash on US 1 northbound near NC 55. All other delays are less than 10 minutes, and for the most part heading into Durham, your delays are less than 10 minutes as well, with the exception being if you're coming in from NC 50. If you're on the go, keep us tuned in on the radio on 101.5 HD3.
Okay, Chris, thank you. 1 week after Zoe Welsh was murdered during a home invasion, a Raleigh neighborhood is learning how to defend itself. Raleigh police shared their advice on home security and self-defense in a meeting with concerned neighbors in 5 Points. WRAL's Ali Calabar is outside the Raleigh police station on Hutton Street. And Ali, we know neighbors had a lot of questions regarding these concerns.
And these neighbors, they live just down the road from where Zoe Welsh was killed. And that's why in this meeting, they asked Raleigh police what is being done to prevent this and make sure that this community is safer. Now, we counted at about 40 people that called into this meeting, this regularly scheduled meeting, asking Captain J.R. Manson at least a dozen questions about safety and protection. He says, strengthen your doors and windows, make it harder for someone to break in. Also, have a backup plan, have a plan if a break-in does happen. The meeting comes just over a week after the murder of Zoe Welsh, a longtime science teacher at Ravenscroft School. Police say Ryan Camacho is accused of breaking into her home on Clay Street and killing her January 3rd. Manson says officers are doing regular patrols in the area now.
We are here to help heal this community, and we want you guys to feel safe. We are dedicated to that. My officers want that. I want that. It's just our mission.
And some other concerns brought up in this meeting you'll see on your screen: homeless encampments, bus stops, and lighting in the area. Manson says to contact him or the police department if you have any concerns. You can find a full list of all of the advice given in this meeting on WRAL.com. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Cadlabar, WRAL News.
Today, we'll get new information about how federal cuts to Medicaid and SNAP benefits will affect people in North Carolina. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at the state legislative building this morning. And Kelsey, millions of people in the state rely on these programs every day.
Yes, Renee, and today we should be able to get a better understanding of how these federal funding cuts could possibly impact you and your family. Conversations that are happening here inside the legislative building today should shed some new light on cuts to Medicaid and SNAP benefits. More than 3 million North Carolinians are on Medicaid and 1.4 million receive SNAP benefits. President Donald Trump signed a sweeping tax and spending bill last year that cuts funding to both programs. His plan cut 20% of funds for food stamps. That's the largest cut to SNAP benefits ever. This all according to analysis by the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Trump's plan also slashes Medicaid by $1.2 trillion. WRAL state government reporter Will Doran explains the questions North Carolina lawmakers are asking.
The legislature wants to hear, hey, what is the state doing about this? What are county governments doing about this? And what's the private sector feeling? You know, what is the effect on hospitals going to be? What is the effect on grocery stores going to be?
And North Carolina lawmakers may be able to get some of those answers today. County and state officials will be offering some presentations for those lawmakers to talk about how they're navigating all of these new changes. Our NC Capitol team will be there following those hearings, so you can stay up to date on WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Kelsey, thank you. State elections officials will meet today to take up politically contentious plans for early voting. Most counties in the state have bipartisan early voting plans that won unanimous approval from local officials. But political fights have come up in a few counties, including Cumberland, Harnett, and Hope counties. Those include efforts to eliminate Sunday voting, get rid of campus polling places, and more. The issues are up for debate today. You can follow along with the updates online at WRAL.com.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we want to update a story we've been following all morning long. Take a look at your screen. You've been seeing this video since we came on the air at 4:30 this morning. This crash near Capitol Boulevard and Thornton Road happened around 11 o'clock last night. Well, police say this was the result of a police pursuit that started in Franklin County after law enforcement officers in that county spotted what was deemed a stolen car, chased a juvenile suspect behind the wheel into Raleigh, and of course, it crashed right here at Capitol Boulevard and Thornton Road. At that point, the driver of the car, the juvenile, jumped from the car and ran, but authorities were able to capture him, and that juvenile is in custody. We'll continue to follow this case for any new developments. Of course, you can do that during our new newscast on WRAL.com and, of course, the WRAL app.
Ken, thank you. Jury selection begins today in the trial of Isaiah Ross. He's accused of murdering 2 teenagers in Orange County. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. The teenagers were found dead on a remote ATV path in September of 2022. Prosecutors offered Ross a deal to plead guilty to second-degree murder.
All right. So let me ask you, Mr. Ross, what is your decision about whether you want to accept or reject the state's offer?
I would like to reject the offer, ma'am.
Prosecutors told the judge they plan to call the victims' parents to testify. Jury selection begins at 9:30.
New developments in the turmoil in the town of Cary leadership. State Auditor Dave Bolick says he has found possible criminal activity involving former Cary town manager Sean Stiegel. We have done more than a dozen stories on the questions surrounding Stiegel's spending. In an interview with WRAL, Bolick says his investigation uncovered transactions on a company card that could indicate fraud. He says his office is now working with the SBI and the DA. Bolick was not able to share a clear timeline on when we may learn more. We have reached out to Sean Stiegel multiple times for comment. We have not heard back. The mayor of Cary responded to the news from the state auditor's office, saying in part, the state auditor has raised concerns about potential legal violations by Sean Stiegel that we take very seriously. Once presented to us, we will review the auditor's findings carefully and will partner fully with any additional investigations. We have covered this story for weeks now, including the actions that led to Stiegel being asked to resign, the pledges from the interim town manager, and how town council members are reacting. You can find all that on WRAL.com and on our YouTube page.
President Trump says he is imposing a new tariff on any country that does business with Iran. The president announced a 25% tariff yesterday, saying the order is final and goes into effect immediately. The Trump administration has not said how long the tariff will be implemented. The tariff could make goods from China, a major trading partner for both the U.S. and Iran, significantly more expensive to import. This comes after the nationwide crackdown in Iran has left more than 500 protesters dead.
Police say they have 2 juveniles in custody after rocks were thrown at moving cars in Wake Forest. We spoke with one of the people whose car was damaged. She tells us she drove under the railroad bridge on Roosevelt Avenue around 3 a.m. Sunday. That's when rocks hit her windshield. She shared a picture with us showing how pieces of the windshield scratched her glasses.
Parents have to teach their kids, grandparents have to teach their kids that Life's precious, and you don't play roulette with other people's lives like that.
Officers say the rocks hit 2 vehicles. No one was seriously hurt. We've reached out to Wake Forest Police to find out if the juveniles will face charges.
Deliberate attack. A man charged with arson after intentionally lighting a synagogue on fire. The new surveillance video showing the crime.
Plus, chemical concerns. Some coatings on nonstick pans could be bad for your family's health and the environment. 5 on Your Side has the safest options for cookware you'll want in your kitchen.
And let's take a live look outside at Southern Pines this morning. Temperatures climbed today ahead of another strong cold front this week. Just ahead, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner shows us why winter weather odds are still low despite the cold to come.
8:44. It's definitely a chilly start, but beautiful blue skies here in Chapel Hill. Not a lot of people in the frame right now, but definitely the people who have been walking up and down are bundled up in their warm coats. Temperatures are still chilly out there this morning. 30 in Holly Springs, 27 in Fayetteville, 30 in Garner, 28 in Cary, 27 in Rocky Mount and Wilson. But as we get into the 9 o'clock hour, we'll start to see those temperatures climbing, and pretty fast actually, because lunchtime we should be in the low 50s. That was our high temperature yesterday, and then this afternoon we should climb to around 60 degrees. If you're walking the dog this evening, temperatures should be right back down around 50 degrees. This is likely to be the warmest day that we'll see all week. A front that comes in late tomorrow will bring us some really cold temperatures to round out the work week. I'll show you that coming up. Chris?
Noted. So bottle today up. Meanwhile, some more good news on I-40 at Jones Sausage Road. That crash is completely cleared. Everything getting through pretty smoothly. It's just congested as it usually is. Still some backups, though, in Apex. This is US 1 North at NC 55, and you can see the backup still because of a crash that happened earlier in the morning. In terms of our drive times or our delay times heading into downtown Raleigh, the biggest one is coming out of Apex at 17 minutes. Hardly anything that's going to make you late coming in out of Garner or Knightdale. Still about a 10-minute delay coming in from Durham and Wake Forest this morning.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center following some breaking economic news right now. The Consumer Price Index report dropped just minutes ago, and here's what the numbers show. Back in December, inflation rate rose by 0.2% at an annual rate of 2.6%. Now, keeping those numbers in mind, they're actually a little below expectations, which financial analysts with CNBC believe indicates that this is a moderate increase. Now, the CPI measures how much you're paying for foods and other necessities. This is key inflation data the Federal Reserve will consider when it comes to interest rates. By the way, the Fed meets in January 27th. We, of course, have the opening numbers coming up in the next hour on Fox 50.
All right, Ken, thank you. New video shows the moments leading up to a man setting a Mississippi synagogue on fire on purpose. Investigators say this video shows Stephen Spencer Pittman pouring gasoline inside what he called the Synagogue of Satan. He's now charged with arson. They say he confessed to lighting the fire because of the building's Jewish ties. Pittman also reportedly laughed as he told his dad what he did. Investigators say his dad later turned him in.
Attack against the synagogue is an attack against all of us.
A congregation spokesperson says no one was inside the temple at the time of the attack, but at least 2 sacred prayer scrolls were destroyed in that fire.
In Cumberland County, the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Parade in Fayetteville will be postponed. It was originally scheduled for January 17th, but organizers are citing safety issues as the reason to postpone. Parade organizers did not specify what those safety issues are. A new date has not yet been announced. Happening today, Raleigh City Council will get an update on the Triangle Bikeway project. The plan hopes to connect the Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill metropolitan areas. The Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization will make a presentation about the project as it moves into the preliminary design phase. Today's work session is this afternoon at 4. Before you cook your next meal, take a closer look at that nonstick pan. Some coatings may contain chemicals that raise concerns for you, your family, and the environment. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur reveals which pans you may want to replace with safer options.
5 on Your Side has done lots of reporting on the concerns with kitchen cookware in the past. And now Consumer Reports is testing popular pans. In addition to testing the durability of the pan, CR's experts take a look at what those coatings are specifically made of.
Some nonstick coatings are made with Teflon, also known as PTFE, which is one member of a group of chemicals called PFAS. Some of these chemicals can linger for years in the body or in the environment and have been associated with a number of health concerns.
Now, intact pans are safer, but pans with scratched coatings and chips should be replaced.
You can consider cookware made with ceramic coatings. Enameled cast iron also lets you cook directly on the stovetop, go to the oven, and transfer to the table.
This top-performing ceramic-coated pan from Caraway offers impressive nonstick performance, even heating, and is compatible with induction cooktops. For a fraction of the cost, though, this pan from Farberware offers even heating and good nonstick surface for frying up eggs. Just know that its handle isn't nearly as sturdy. For searing, this Tramontina enameled cast iron pan is a great option, and it also is very easy to clean. If nonstick isn't a top priority, though, Consumer Reports says stainless steel and cast iron is also a solid option and can last a lifetime with proper care. Regardless of the coating you choose, your nonstick pan will deteriorate over time, so never use metal utensils or harsh cleaners. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
Author Colleen Hoover says her radiation treatment for cancer is nearly complete. She posted an update to her Instagram story with the caption, "Second to last day of radiation." The It Ends With Us author is undergoing treatment in Texas. She has not revealed what type of cancer she's battling. Walmart is teaming up with Google in an effort to use AI to change the way customers shop. The partnership was announced at the National Retail Federation's annual Big Show in New York this past weekend. It will allow shoppers to use Google's AI assistant, Gemini, to find and buy products from Walmart and Sam's Club. No word yet on when the new shopping feature will launch.
It is 8:51. Our temperatures right around freezing. A few hours ago, they were certainly in the 20s, and we're getting up there with all that sunshine out there.
We're going to have a nice quick jump in our temperatures, of course, over the next couple of hours. We're going to jump all the way into the low 50s by around lunchtime, and that was our high temperature for yesterday. We're looking at 60 for a high this afternoon, so that's why I picked Southern Pines, Longleaf Golf and Family Club. If you want to get outside at all this week, this is going to be the day you want to do it. It'll be the prime day. Of course, our sunset is still in the 5 o'clock hour, so if you're working till 5, you may not have that opportunity. It's 32 in Roxborough, 36 South Hill, 33 Goldsboro, 28 in Southern Pines. Gradually, our temperatures are beginning to warm up, but there's still some 20s on the map. 29 in Clayton, 28 in Rollsville, 27 in Chapel Hill right now. Around town, temperatures again should climb up to around 60 degrees. If you have a chance to get out in the middle of the afternoon, even for maybe just a stroll around the block, you could enjoy it as the temperatures will be on the milder side, a little above normal. Tracking at least 2 or more shots of some more cold air. Will be mild on the milder side tomorrow, but then we're going to see a big blast of cold air that comes in during the day on Thursday. The purple shaded area is where the air is coldest, and we'll see that moving in during the day on Thursday. It lifts northward a little bit for Friday and Saturday, and then another round of that cold air comes blasting in for us on Sunday and Monday, and maybe another one even by next Tuesday. It'll be breezy for this afternoon and tomorrow. Ahead of that front, gusts up to around 25 miles per hour. But behind the front on Thursday, that's when it gets really windy, similar to what we saw on Sunday. You remember we had a nice, bright, sunny day, but it started mild and temperatures just plunged through the day with windy conditions. Our normal high is 52, so we're well above that for today. But look at this, Thursday and Friday, our high temperatures are likely to be in the low to mid 40s. That's going to be really chilly. 32 is our normal low, and we're going to dive down to 20 on Friday, and then 29 on Sunday morning. So definitely feeling cold out there for us. So we're going to see lots of sunshine. We have very little rain in our forecast, maybe about 1/10 of an inch on Wednesday night, maybe another 1/10 of an inch on Saturday night.
Elizabeth, thank you. And before we go to break, here are the winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic up next.